wonder how so many women decide to take trips on their own and they don't seem to be worried about fear at all? Do you think that's a little crazy? Well, I've been traveling alone for over 7 years and now over 60,000 miles on my own. And I have very little fear about doing any of it by myself. So how is that possible? Hey, I'm Bing from Wonder Bing Travel. I'm the author of the #1 bestseller, There's Wonder Around the Bend. It's an inspiring guide for solo road trippers. And today I'm going to show you how you can get over your fears of traveling alone for the first time. It's not only possible to travel without fear, but you can adapt an entirely different outlook on traveling alone that will leave you free to enjoy the freedom and beauty and wonder of a journey taken by yourself. I'm going to break it down to some simple ways that you can employ these strategies. So the first thing is 3 keys to safety that you can employ that will create confidence about traveling solo. And then I'm going to give you a sneaky trick to keep your valuables safe and 2 personal safety hacks that I have. So lots of practicality coming your way today. What is the biggest mistake that women make as they consider taking a solo trip? What is the thing that stops them in their tracks before they ever get started? They start from a place of fear. That's where they begin. You can and you should acknowledge your fears. They're real, they're tangible, and I'm not here to tell you that they don't exist. Whether it's getting lost, maybe feeling exposed when you're camping or hiking alone, you're worried about people watching you or maybe approaching you in an uncomfortable way. Maybe you're afraid of having a medical emergency, something happening to your car. I mean, the list could be super long if you think about it too hard. And for the most part, they're all legitimate fears that we have. You need a guide. You need information and education. And then those things together, they end up breeding confidence to plan your trip, confidence to pack the car, and then to get out of here and hit the road. So this video is going to educate you to take the unknown out of solo travel and instead equip you to manage those very real fears so that you can absolutely get out there and seek the freedom and wonder that is around every bend. Just for watching today, you're going to get my super simple guide to solo road trip safety. It's a free resource and it's full of super practical things that you can do before you ever leave home. And those things will help build confidence and kick fear to the curb. It's one more step in equipping yourself. You can use this link or you can use the one in the description below. And for those who stay to the end, I have another free resource that I'll share that includes all my favorite safety items that I won't travel without. I'll be chatting about a few of these as we go, so stay for the resource at the end so you can get them for yourself. Let's start exchanging all those fears of the unknown for information that leads to confidence. Let's go. I have 3 basic keys for safety, and they're just common sense things that will help set you up and start the process to take the power out of your fears and bring the power back to you. So the first one is to be proactive. Staying safe on the road means playing offense, not defense. And I actually subscribe to this theory in general when it comes to planning my trips, not just as it pertains to safety. And that means preparing ahead of time. It means being on the front foot, thinking through the scenarios that bring you anxiety, and then have a plan before you ever even leave home. So here's an example. Let's say you have a fear about what would you do if you had a medical emergency. And I realize we all may have different ideas in our mind of what that is. For some of us, it may be you have a known condition and you need to figure out how you would handle that. For others, it falls into the category of like, what if this happened someday? So either way, how can you manage that fear? Well, practically, there is a lot that you can do. You can print out instructions, contact information, make sure your medications are readily available. You can even create a plan and put all these things in an envelope in the console of your car and just mark it in case of emergency. Those are things that you can do so that somebody else needed access to that information, or even you do when you're scatterbrained, you can't quite think straight or whatever. It's all right there and handy and easy to grab. There are also settings and things that you can put on your phone that really will help in case of emergency, a lot of the same information. One really practical thing that you can do for yourself is make a choice about not putting yourself in a position where you're in the middle of nowhere. If you're truly concerned about having a medical emergency, Don't go somewhere where you feel like no one could find you, or it would be difficult to get to a facility that could be helpful. Or you can just do your research ahead of time. If you really want to go someplace that is a little remote, figure out ahead of time what if you need a battle plan if something like that would happen. So from my perspective, I'm pretty healthy, and I feel like it's very unlikely that something would happen. However, I'm very well aware that something could happen. So if it does, I have all my medical information in my car and everything that I would need. And I would honestly rather be out there enjoying something I love than sitting at home scared of what would happen. You have to decide what is a good trade for you. At the end of the day, however it looks, be proactive. Stay on offense. So the next tip is to know before you go. Reacting to unexpected things in real time can be scary, and if you don't think really well on your feet, or you're worried that you wouldn't think well on your feet, then prepare before you go. Know before you go. Educating yourself before you leave just simplifies and speeds up all that decision making as events would unfold. So let's use another example relative to the car. And what if you were in an accident and you weren't able to get yourself out of the car? Well, there's practical tools, literal practical tools that you can take with you to help you in a situation like that. You could carry an emergency auto tool that is a flashlight. It can break your window, and it can slash your seatbelt. Who knew, right? But you can have something like that with you, and how nice to have it in your console or in your door where you can hopefully get a hold of it. You can also carry an emergency kit, flares. There's lots of practical things you can do. And like I said before, make sure your medical information's in your console where someone can get to it if you would be unresponsive. So you can't stop the accident, but there are things you can do to make it easier. And these are just a few of those, right? So knowing before you go how you're going to equip yourself to deal with different situations like a car accident. So the last key is to have a plan. So while you can't predict every situation you're going to encounter on the road, you can absolutely prepare for some of the more common things that may come up. Here are a few that you should think through before you go, and they're probably never going to happen, but still it's so worthwhile to have a plan. What would you do if you lost your phone? Think about all the things on your phone. What would you do if your car battery died and you're out in the middle of nowhere? What would you do if your car was stolen? Lots of other things that could make that list, most of which are never going to happen. But to think ahead of time and to have a plan of what you will do is super helpful. And I just like to mention that getting out there and handling the stuff that happens, dealing with it, dealing with those minor issues, it's all just part of it. And you know what? You're going to come back stronger and more confident than you thought possible, because it isn't going to be perfect. And the imperfections are the things that in some cases lead you down places you've never expected and that you couldn't plan for, and are some of the most beautiful parts of a solo road trip. All right, I have a sneaky trick for you to keep your valuables safe. So I just got done telling you to leave an envelope full of information in your car console for emergency purposes. But now I'm going to guide you in the flip side of that, which is how to hide things in your car. Why would you do that? Well, I call this stuff my top secret access. And it's a small group of items that no one else is ever going to need, no matter what the situation is. But things that I might need should I ever lose my car key, my wallet, or my phone, for example. So here are some things that I have in my top secret access. I keep a few $100s in cash, an extra credit card, a copy of my driver's license and my healthcare card, login information for my banks, and then a spare car key. So I've never had to break into my top secret access except for some cash on occasion, because I just don't like to carry a lot of cash just in my car or on my person. But knowing that all these things are there brings me a lot of peace, and it's actually priceless. So what does this look like? Well, I actually have a slash-proof bag that has a lock on it that goes in my car, and it connects to anything solid. I would put it around anything solid in my car, and I hide it where it's not easy for anyone to find it. This is going to make a loud noise. It has super tough Velcro on it, and it's just a big pocket. And inside, I keep all those things that I was just talking about. I don't need a lot of space for those things. So this alleviates the fear of losing things. It's sneaky, it's smart, and I always carry it with me on a road trip. And there are all kinds of bags out there. Some of them are hard topped, some of them are bigger, smaller. They all have, you always want to get something that has a lock on it that can connect to something in your car. Because what good is having your sneaky thing if somebody does find it and just walk away with it? You don't want that. So I'll share more information on this and other safety items in just a minute. But first I want to tell you about 2 personal safety hacks. And I could provide you with so many of these for use in a car, in a hotel, when you're camping, when you're hiking. And actually the super simple guide that I told you about that I'm giving you today for free, it does give you some more insight into some of those, and I outline many of them in the safety chapter of my book, There's Wonder Around the Bend. So here are 2 easy ones that every solo traveler should know. And the first one is to carry pepper spray and a whistle. So one of our common fears is being attacked, which I realize is a harsh word, or being put into a situation where at the very least we feel vulnerable and uncomfortable. I realize that some of you may be trained in self-defense or you are carrying a gun, and those are fine. I just want to provide things that everybody can use today. So these are 2 really simple things. So I carry both pepper spray and my Birdie Whistle on a lanyard with my car key. And that means that they are right beside me when I'm driving, it's around my neck when I'm out of the car, and it's also right next to me when I am sleeping. So that gives me a lot of peace of mind that those things are right there. So the pepper spray is pretty self-explanatory. This one has a clip. I think I bought a pack of 4. This particular ones I got at Costco. I have bought them on Amazon as well. This has a clip. It also has a ring so that it fits on my lanyard. The Birdie Whistle is basically the same size and shape. Mine is a pretty, I don't even know what color this is. Sort of peach, sort of orange, I don't know. And it easily fits on my lanyard as well. So this works, if you haven't seen it before, this works, and I'm not going to do it because you'll be sorry if I do, by simply pulling down hard, and it works great if it's around your neck. And that causes the whistle to emit this super loud, high-pitched sound. And it's good for scaring animals away too, as well as unwanted intruders in your personal space if you feel threatened. There's also a flashing bright light that goes off at the same time with the whistle. It's a great product, it's affordable, comes in a ton of colors. You're going to find the link here in a minute. The other thing, this is more for hotels, motels, Airbnb, any place where you have an interior room. Buy a heavy doorstop and make sure you carry it in your suitcase or whatever bag you carry when you go in to stay overnight. You just put the doorstop on the inside of the closed outside door or the door of your bedroom to ensure that no one can then enter the room. Even if they have the key or they break the lock, the door won't budge. However, here's maybe a little bit of a pro tip. Not every doorstop works on carpet. A lot of times they'll just slide and then it doesn't serve any purpose at all. So I'm going to provide you a link to a specific one that does a great job on all different kinds of surfaces, and it's designed more for this particular use. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that I had a resource to share with practical safety items, and I've mentioned a few of those as we've talked. The Birdie Whistle, my pepper spray, the Doorstop, my top secret bag for hiding things in my car. You can access all of those with one link. I created a safety shopping list just for you, and it's called the Roadmap to Safety, and you can access it with the link below. So thank you for sticking around for that. You can find all these goodies mentioned, plus a ton more of my favorite safety products for traveling solo. Know that I do get a tiny benefit from your orders, but that just helps me create more and better content for you, so please don't hold back and feel free to share it as well. So I've answered a few of your questions today, but there truly is so much more to consider before you head out alone. Things like, how do you set up your car? How do you hike safely? Camp safely? What about traveling with a dog for safety? What are the pros and cons of that? I do have a lot of those answers, as I have so many resources to help you, and I've helped so many other people with these very same questions. So here's a few ways you can get to these answers. You can pick up my book, There's Wonder Around the Bend. I did write an entire chapter on safety, and it takes everything I've talked about today, and it drills down into tons of more detail. and gives practical examples. And you can see the link to grab the book in the description. And please do grab your free, super simple guide to solo road tripping safety. That is here for you as well. And I have an entire playlist of videos on YouTube that are designed to help you navigate your fears and dangers associated with traveling alone. So by all means, check that out. You can absolutely, look at me please, you can absolutely trade in those emotions that you have and that fear and anxiety that you have and trade that in to travel confidently on your own. Allowing me to be your guide is a great first step. And the more you educate yourself, the less scary and more exciting solo travel can be. So figure out what path works best for you, dive in. Road tripping on your own can be a transformational experience for so many reasons, not the least of which is having to deal with things that are a little bit uncomfortable and coming out stronger and more confident on the other side. I've seen it over and over and over again. If you like what you've learned today, then absolutely give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me what your fears are, and please subscribe to the channel, Wonderbank Travel, and that will ensure that you're the first to know every time more helpful solo travel videos are here and released for you. I really hope I'll see you on the road.